Today's adventure is the Mercedes-Benz Museum, which happens to be located in Stuttgart. The lobby is kind of impressive and very tall. And please note that's not an automobile. Yes, we have to watch Metropolis after this. Here comes our ride. The museum starts with an overview of transportation before the automobile with these adorable dioramas. Here's number one, with obviously the bicycle. Here's number two, discussing horse-drawn carriages and carts and horse-drawn horsepower. Number three is the train. These are all representing about 1890. And the last one is talking about water power. This engine has a patent on it from 1876. It's so Victorian. It's so pretty. And now the year is 1882, and we have a gas engine. Gas motor. What's the difference between an engine and a motor? 1885 also has what one could call the first motorcycle. It really is the three-wheeled bicycle I rode at Ohio Village. And this looks more like a horseless carriage. In 1888, the Chancellor Otto von Bismarck owned this. This one is 1889. Just so you know, here's the context of the museum and the timeline. I just passed the trolley, and it just keeps going. This one it looks kind of like a train. It's a pump for the firefighters. So notice, that's what, hence the tag track. But it's got wheels not meant for the track. Now this one is meant to be on railroad tracks, so it's a narrow gauge railroad. Here it is in context again, around 1894. And this is a narrow gauge rail running through the Viennese Prater in 1892. So this is an 1892 Daimler Motor Strassenwagen. It was the first automobile sold by DMG in 1892, and it was bought by the Sultan of Morocco. In 1892, the Sultan had it was a Surrey with a fringe on top to protect you, of course, from that desert sun. This is an 1893 Benz Victoria, built in Mannheim. This is 1898 Benz Motor Velocipede. I can't say it. But here they are again. They keep showing these really great old photos. The 1895 Benz Omnibus is a stagecoach, a motorized stagecoach. The 1896 Vis-a-Vis. So you've got the driver and the steering wheel, but check this out. You could also sit in front of the driver and ride backwards. All right, the year is 1898, and we have the oldest surviving first truck. What do you suppose was delivered in the first trucks, motorized trucks? Wait for it. This is Germany. Think about it. Beer, of course. Covered wagons are special. I love the covered wagon. So imagine this with a big old cover on the back, like a covered wagon. Earlier we had had the vis-a-vis. Now this vehicle is the opposite. It's back to back. Once again, it's easy to get caught up in the exhibits, but the museum itself, here we are, and you spiral down to the next level. The museum itself is a thing of beauty. Hey, check this out. This is specifically a racing car from 1900, and I love the headlights, which are actual candles. But check out where the motor is. This is Benz motor up there, and there's the crank. There's the starter crank. It's on the butt. Let's see. So it's like the tail. The car has a tail, but I have to come show off the headlamps with candles in them. Gotta love the way this is displayed. It's rather effective. Can't tell what kind of car this is, could ya? So Mercedes was a Daimler car, so Benz had to follow suit in 1905. Right next to a 1908 Phaeton. This is a Mercedes. So this is what a limousine looks like in 1904. Kind of like this. They have a fire vehicle from 1912. We've made it to the Gallery of Voyagers. So, is it elegant? Or is it silly? Can't quite decide. Mercedes-Benz may not have invented double-decker buses, but they did make them. I am making progress to the museum, a little bit slowly, for the obvious reason. There's a lot to see. This is a 1923 Mercedes Sport Zweisitzer, as in two-seater. According to the museum's audio guide, this is the first supercharger car, and they say that the roar of this engine is what gives the Roaring Twenties its name. Okay, here we have a Roadster from 1928, another Sport Zweisitzer two-seater, and its neighbor is a 1936 Roadster. Can't you just see this being driven by Hollywood stars? This one from 1932 was owned by the last emperor, Kaiser Wilhelm II. His doesn't have the usual emblem on the radiator cap. It's got the coat of arms. These are 1937 vehicles. Check out the massive fenders. Also check out the horns on this one. And this guy, this is the Grand Mercedes, the darling of the Emperor of Japan, the Nazi regime, and quite a few other dignitaries all wanted one of these guys. It really does kind of say power car, doesn't it? This particular Grand Mercedes from 1935 was owned by Emperor Hirohito of Japan. That's the reason there's a golden chrysanthemum on the side. Here we have an ambulance from 1937, which is Krankenwagen in German, which is fun to say. Moving forward to the 1950s, in 1953 you could only get a car in about 5 colors, but by 1956 there were 26 colors to choose from. I wish I could get a car with this kind of color choices. Of all the cars in this whole museum, this is the one that everybody is coming and standing by because they want their picture taken with this car. Yeah, it's a racing car. In case you were wondering. I know you weren't. 1952. The Mercedes-Benz 300. This is a There's a regular car, and not a small one. And here's a 1960 truck, since Mercedes-Benz made more than just, you know, luxury little sports cars. Of course, we have to end by reminding everybody that the reason Mercedes-Benz exists is because people like to race cars. Quite the collection of silver arrows here, but I think my favorite might be this one from 1910, which Benz actually raced in the Prince Heinrich Drive in 1910. Honest? The silver arrows. A whole lot of them. Okay, this last bit of history is very modern history, but this particular red Mercedes-Benz was owned, wait for it, by Princess Diana. She had to give it back because the government didn't like her having a foreign car, but she had it. She did drive this car.